It is now my honor and my greatest pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Lynn Niselow, who's the general manager of our Shule. Lynn, welcome. And for the audience, this is the way it's going to work. The first half of the session will be an interview format between me and Lynn, and then we'll answer any questions from the audience. So if you want to ask a question, if you think of a question at any time now, if you go to the bottom of your screen, there's a chat icon. You click on chat and a little box will come up on the right. You can type in your question, hit enter, and we will see all those questions. And at the end, Lynn will answer as many of them as she can. We're anticipating the session will be about 40 minutes, so we'll try and get to everything. So, Lynn, before we talk about your role at the synagogue, can you tell us something about yourself and your family, where you were born, where you grew up, what your Jewish community there was like, some of your background?
So I come from South Africa, just in case no one knew from my accent. I came to live in Australia in 2006. I'm very lucky because my mum is here. I have two brothers and their families. My one brother recently came back to live in Australia with my nephew, which is the joy of our lives. And I grew up in a very traditional Jewish family. Friday nights was Shule, Shabbat dinner was very special to us, as were all the Yom Tovim. And I'm very lucky to live in a beautiful city like Sydney and to have my family around me.
So what year did you move here, Lynn?
In 2006.
And tell us about your career, how you got started after you moved here.
So when I came to live in Australia, I started working for a company that imported all the beautiful cheeses. Just in case no one knows, my thing is food. I'm a real foodie. I love to cook, I love to eat, I love to share. That's one of my passions. So I worked for a company that supplied all the beautiful cheeses to the delis and the hotels and to the restaurants. And I worked for them for a while, and then I started a catering business where I had my own catering business, and I ran that for 3 years. And after that, I joined what's called the Zionist Council of New South Wales, which most people knew was actually the State Zionist Council. And there I was the executive director, where I engaged with different communal organizations and synagogues and schools, representing the State Zionist Council, which was the state version of the Zionist Federation. And I worked there for 3.5 years, and I really got a sense of the community. I got to know the people in the community, and I worked there. And then it was time to move back into food. And shortly after I left, I was very privileged. I was called by the Monday Morning Cooking Club ladies, and who asked me if I wanted to join them in curating the third book, which was that a trick question? So I did that for 3 years, and that was just the most beautiful experience. I was involved in everything from seeing the heirloom recipes, testing and testing again, the producing of a book, the filming, the photography, the launching. It was really a beautiful experience, and I forged wonderful relationships, and I will always be grateful for that experience. And following that, I went back into more community work, but on another level, which was event management, more catering, and more functions and coordinating.
And so what attracted you to the job of general manager at the Great Synagogue?
Well, when this job came about, I was so excited because it checked every box. It was an opportunity for me to use all my skills and my years of experience, and with a bonus that I got to work in a beautiful shul with wonderful people. So it was really very easy. It was a very easy decision.
So describe to us, if you will, Lynn, the role that you play in the shul, and also about the roles of the other staff in your office.
So My role as general manager is really to ensure that the wheels of the synagogue keep turning, that we are constantly engaging with our members, that we have a presence in the greater community, and that we ensure continuity and longevity for the Great. In order to keep the cogs and the wheels turning, it takes an enormous amount of work. The functioning of the building, the maintenance, the cleaning, all of this in itself is a huge task. So let me tell you a little bit about behind the scenes. Every time you see an event, a talk or celebration flyer, the very talented Ilana is behind this.
Hey, Ilana.
There's Ilana. You've all seen how the IGA looks at a kiddush. This is all Ilana. In addition, Ilana also takes care of the holiday service preparation, as well as the law service, all mammoth events. And then there's Ezra. Ezra plays an enormous role in keeping us all together. He's efficient, he's the best multitasker, and he's always on point. Every life cycle letter, every newsletter, both the digital and the paper newsletter that you see in Shule on Shabbat, these are all generated by Ezra. His knowledge of Torah, his learning at Shachris and Mincha are a small part of what Ezra does. He knows all about our history and information anyone ever needs from the archives, their family history and the Shul history. Ezra knows how to access all of this information. As well as that, every video session of the new series From the Rabbi's Bookshelves have been videoed and recorded by Ezra, as well as all the editing. And then we have Justin. Justin, our very talented choir master, is for most people the first point of call when you are getting in touch with the Great. Justin speaks to most of our members. He knows their family stories, and he's always happy to chat to everyone. Justin also looks after the tours. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but we have public tours. Every Thursday there's a public tour, and on the first and third Tuesdays of the month, there are public tours. As well as that, there are school tours, and both Rabbi Phil and Rabbi Elton look after the school tours, and sometimes we have 100 children coming through the school. So that takes a lot of work. And then Judith looks after the accounts. No small task, because this covers everything from membership to accounts to all things financial that are happening in the shul. And these are only a few of the tasks that are taken care of on a daily basis. And everything, of course, is done with a smile and with kindness. And not to be forgotten, our wonderful volunteers who play an enormous part in the Great. And they've been part of the Great family for many years and often generations. They are our tour guides, our ushers, part of the pastoral care committee, the women's auxiliary, great women. I could go on and on. We love each and every one of them, and we are so grateful that they are part of our great family.
Then, is there anything that
That's
you would call...
a little bit about the background of what goes on, almost on a day-to-day background, on a day-to-day.
Is there anything that you would call a typical day, or is there no such thing at the Great?
There really isn't a typical day, because there are a variety of things that happen all the time, and it depends on where we are in the year, what's happening in terms of a yontif coming up, if there's an event coming up. So all of these have an impact on our day-to-day work.
Could you run us through a project from the moment that you get your brief to the final culmination, the final product that we all see? What goes on behind the scenes?
Right. So some people might be aware that our beautiful synagogue and our facilities are used by other organizations and companies for their own events. Sometimes we rent out the space, and sometimes we manage an event. For example, last year, the Federal Attorney General...
Have you got a volume control on this?
Sorry?
Keep going.
Last year, the Federal Attorney General announced...
I think not everybody is muted. That's the problem. Folks, if you're on and you're not Lynn or me, could you mute yourselves, please?
Yes, please.
I have to mute it. Go on you.
Bottom left-hand corner, you mute. There's a
mute.
A little microphone. Shelley, yeah, you're muted now. Good. Okay,
Okay.
Lynn, you're on again.
So the federal Attorney General last year announced the draft Freedom of Religion Bill from the main sanctuary, which was a huge privilege for us. But logistically, it was enormous because the things that go into it, like security, the cleaning of the shul, which has to be pristine, the production, we have to have speakers and stages and setting for cameras, because all of this was televised nationally. Our mezzanine had to be pristine because we had caterers in, and as there was a food function afterwards. Our mezzanine was used for a special meeting, and on and on. So that was an event where people booked the synagogue to use it. And then we have the law service. The law service every year in February, and this is an extraordinary event. It's a privilege for us to host it, and the expectations are very high. The logistics in creating this start in October, straight after the high holidays.
This is October, let's interrupt you. This is October for an event that's going to be happening in February.
February, correct. So all the lists of invitees are created, ensuring all their contact information has been updated. And this changes all the time, because an associate for a judge this year might not be the same associate next year. So it's constant work and constant updating. Mm-hmm. The invitations are sent out in various formats, in email, paper invitations, and there's follow-up on the RSVPs. And this goes on until about an hour before the event, where dignitaries are confirming whether they will or won't attend. And then there are the regular processes, the cleaning of the shul, the setting of the IGA, the ensuring that all the production is in place. There is a production, order of service rather, and Rabbi puts that together. And then the Gabbai, Steve Schach, ensures that it all runs smoothly. And this is no mean feat, but it's a great privilege for us and something that we are very proud to host each year.
Also, that particular one, I must add, because of the nature of the dignitaries who are attending, to make sure that there are no foribbles as to who is sitting where, that is a huge job. Yeah.
Right. And then just to end, I must say that working at the Great is a gift to me. I love it. I'm surrounded by an incredible team, inspiring rabbis, a very strong and supportive executive and board. And I'm in the most beautiful shul, and the families of members remind me every day why we do what we do, to preserve the shul, to ensure longevity, and to continue to grow. And we are excited for the future and to when we all come back to shul.
That's absolutely wonderful. Folks, we would love to have your questions. I haven't had any typed questions, but there is a question that asks, are there often or sometimes difficult situations that you have to deal with members?
Well, I don't think they're difficult rather than sensitive.
Okay.
I think they are often sensitive. Everybody is human and everybody has needs. Mm-hmm. There are often sensitive conversations that need to happen. And we try to be very measured in those conversations and in the responses.
That's really important. Anybody else have any questions at all? If you prefer to ask your question by voice, you can just unmute yourself and join in and ask. Roz, you look like you've got a question there.
No, I'm soaking it all up. This is really nice just to sit and be involved and listen to what's happening. It's good.
That's absolutely correct. We have not a question, but a comment here.
You don't seem to have any questions.
No, here I have somebody who wrote, Nikki, the law service is magnificent. I attend every year. Thanks, Nikki. That's great. Lauren asks a question. What is your favorite dish to make?
My favorite dish to make used to be only desserts. And now I think my favorite dish to make are salads and vegetables.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I have a question. How did you get into the catering thing? Did you have any formal training in catering, or is it just a love of cooking that you developed yourself?
Just a love of cooking. And I've been surrounded by wonderful cooks all my life. My mum is a great cook. My grandmother was a superb cook. So like most of us, I was very lucky. I am very lucky to have been surrounded by great cooks and to have an interest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also that I presume your mum didn't shoo you out of the kitchen when when she was cooking.
Can I ask a question? Hello.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. So
Hi,
nice.
Kaz.
Caroline.
Hi.
Lynn, you're one of the calmest people I've ever met. And you've come in, you're working in the Jewish community, which is enough to drive anyone's blood pressure through the roof. And I'm just wondering, you know, you have not only to support your team through what would be quite anxious situations when there've been threats on the building, etc., and also to the work situation now, but also to the needs of every single congregant and their sensitivities. So, like, where did that come from? How did you become that? What did you have to do to change potentially to be able to work in this environment?
I didn't really have to change. I think I have, I'm very lucky. I have wonderful experience and I'm surrounded by extraordinary people. So I have lots of people to tap into, not only in my family, but in my work environment. There's always somebody to ask a question. And I've learned that it's okay to ask the question. And if you're not sure, just ask because it's okay. And the other thing which has always helped me in my life is I have a very deep-seated trust that everything is always going to be okay. And that for me has always helped me, because knowing that, and it sounds so silly and so simple, but it really is the truth, that if you really think, if you really believe that it's all going to be okay, somehow it is. It is, and you might be swimming but at the bottom, under the water, you're paddling like crazy, but it all seems to come together and it's lovely.
Well, that actually pertains to us and this whole coronavirus thing. And it's just wonderful to hear somebody saying, yeah, it is going to be okay, and we will come out of this at the other end. And what do we have planned? One of the questions I see here is, are there any exciting events planned at the Great when we're out of this lockdown?
I think we're going to wait for that. I think we'll wait for that. We will certainly be doing wonderful things, but we have some time right now, which is time for us to engage, time for us to spend together, time for us to connect with each other, with our friends, with our family. I think it's time for reflection and to take stock and to realize that we're actually all really lucky.
And tell us, Lynn, how has it worked for all you and all the office staff working from home? You're so used to all being together in one big office. How has this been different? Ilana. Well, Ilana, answer the question. What's it like working from home?
It's fun. The homeschooling thing's been interesting, trying to manage that. So I do a lot of stuff at night now, which means that everybody has to be quite flexible with me and sort of, they get emails at 11 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm spending a lot of time with the kids during the day. That's quite complicated. And Lynn has been so incredibly understanding. She's amazing. Very, very lucky to have her. Sorry, that's my son's iPad.
Lynn is back. Lynn, you might have been off for a minute there, but we were asking about what it's like working from home as opposed to all being together.
Internet shopping. So my internet's really not good today. I apologize. Working from home has its challenges because we are a very close team. We work together, we're in an office together, and we bounce each other all the time. We're always sharing information, and even if we're not directly involved in a conversation, we're listening, we're hearing, so we're involved with each other. And so there is a disconnect. When you're working remotely, there's definitely a disconnect. So we have to work extra hard to be connected.
Can I come in here?
Yes, Roz.
Oh, yes. I'm just comparing it to my time between 2005 and 2009, and prior to that, of course, when people didn't even want to give you emails for connection. So you can imagine how difficult this sort of situation would have been in that period. You at least now can get the message out and people can feel connected, and it is a real bonus. It might have its little drawbacks, but we would have been totally isolated in that time. I mean, what did we have? We had fax machines and computers, but we posted just about everything. I'm sure your office is very happy not to have all the volunteers coming in licking envelopes as we did for years and years. So, you know, it's in a way, it's wonderful that you can connect in this way. And I commend both of you for this wonderful initiative that you've started today. I think it's terrific.
Thank you to Caroline.
And
Yes.
Caroline, of course.
Caroline's baby. Caroline thought of this, and this was her idea. And I must say, we're delighted to be doing this. It really is great.
It's great fun. We've got lots of things planned for you, and I think what we're just at about half an hour now. So I think we've come to the end of our session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you have any feedback about the session, we'd love to have it. You can see this is our first one. We're all new at this thing. So we would love to hear from you what you liked about this, what you didn't like about it, what you would like to hear in future sessions. If you want to do a session for us, yeah, that would be fantastic. This is all about us getting together, getting to know each other, and as Caroline said in the beginning, so that when we all come back to Shule eventually one day, we'll all feel that we are a family and that we know each other just that little much better. So look forward to seeing you all again. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Well done. Stay
Great
well.
effort. Great effort, everyone. Good stuff.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.